Hi everyone, my name is Shuaiqi and I'm the TA for 8-bit Discoder. I'm making this video to give a very brief introduction about the PSA3, which is the game 2048, the part 1. So before I starting talking about the PSA3, I hope you have a very basic understanding about what is the game 2048. And here is a demo like you will need to do like at the end of this quarter. So like you need to implement the GUI one of the game 2048. If you haven't played this game before, I recommend you try to play it online to get familiar with its strategy and the algorithm. So for this PSA, it is the part 1 of the 2048. You don't have to deal with the GUI one. You don't have to to deal with like some very deep algorithm, just like the very beginning, the starter code for the 2048. The same for this PSA, you need to answer some questions about the Vim and the Unix command. It is for the part 1. And also for part 2, it is the 2048 method. And then we give you some example output. Also, you need to have your own README. Also, you need to pay attention to your style guides. And also we have 15 points for the extra credit. Then we move to the game 2048. Here is a very brief introduction about 2048, but I recommend you to play by yourself. Okay, here is the main method. For the 2048 method, we have mainly like several files. I can show you. So we mainly have like the board.java, the direction.java, the game2048.java, the game manager.java, the tester.java. These are the source files, and you only need to modify the board.java in this code and the game manager. For direction, game2048, and tester, you don't have to modify anything. But like if you are interested, you can look into this code to see what they are doing. Here, the first thing, like the board.java, it will deal with your board and like the tiles, like the numbers on the tiles, like in which position it is which tile, in which position it is which number. First of all, you need to implement two constructors. The first one is called it takes in two parameters. One is the random, and another one it is board size. For this random, because like every time you try to move the board, you need to add some new tiles into the board. Like maybe it is number 2 or number 4. So actually in this game, when you try to move, you will add some new numbers. Maybe it is 4 or it's just a new number 2. So we use this random to decide the probability, like if the probability of the random number it is larger than 0.5, you will add 2. If it is more than 0.5, you will add 4. This is for the random variable. And for the board size, for this one, it is 4 times 4. And you can pass in other numbers like 6 or 8. It will make your board larger. This is for the constructor. And also here, the random number, it is also for the probability. Here is, instead of it is not an integer, the board size, it is a string of the input board. So which means that you can read some board from your own file and load into a game. So it's like when in your local file the board is like this, and when you read it into your game, it will directly display all the tiles in this number. The second part is called the saving board, which is try to save your board into the file, into your local drive. And here is the output file name. So it's like you can save the board into your local file, and the next time you want to start the game, you can read in that board again. So it's kind of, you can save your game and maybe you can do other things, and after a while you can come back and resume your game. For part C, it is called the add random tile. As I mentioned, you need to use the random variable in the constructor to decide which number you should add. It is 2 or 4. So it's like if the value generated by the random, it is smaller than the 2 probability, you can place 2, else you can place 4. And then for part D, it is called the flipping board. It's kind of like when you try to it taking one parameter which is an integer, and for this integer it has 4 different values. If the integer you pass in it is 1, you need to flip horizontally. If it is 2, you need to flip vertically. If it is 3, you need to flip clockwise, and 4, you need to flip it counterclockwise. If I would say like if it is not any number of these 4, maybe it is like 5, 6, 7, or 8, you can do nothing. And for the extra credit, I think it is for 5, you need to do something else. So just be careful about the parameter. And then you need to move to another file called the game manager. So this game manager is kind of to manage the game. It also has 2 constructors. One is the game manager, and it takes in 3 parameters. The output board, which means like if you want to save the board, the name of the output board, and the board size can be 4 times 4, and the random number. So these 2 things can be passed into the board.java, which means that in the game manager you will have a reference of the board.java, and then you can pass in these 2 parameters into your board.java's constructor. The second thing is like it's corresponding to the board.java's another constructor. It uses an input board, and it also taking an output board as well as a random number. So you can compare the 2 constructors of the game manager to the 2 constructors of the where is it? The board.java. They are corresponding with each other. And then here it is the play method. So the play method, it tries to start the game from the command line, and you will not see the GUI result for this PSA. So after you run the game manager and you can see the command line, there are some like the output board. I can show you a little bit later. You need also to print some constructions, tell the user to click which button to move up, move left, move down, or move right. For this PSA, we don't use the normal keys like move up, move left, move down. We use the HJKL, which is corresponding to the Vim, the direction. So we want you to get familiar with Vim. And here it is the output. So it's like when you run the game manager, you can see these kind of things like welcome to 2048, generating a new board, and the control instructions. K means move up, J means move down. And here it is the board, and here it is the score. And that's it. And here are some other appendix. Here is some like useful things you need to you might have to use during this PSA. And also for the extra credit, the part 1, it is try to check the input file. If it is correct. We want you to think of as many cases as possible, and we will like have around 10 test cases at last. And if you pass like 70% of them, you will get 4 credits. So you don't have to think all the possibilities, but just try to think as many as you can. And another one, it is for the flip. So it's like if the input it is 5, you can flip like diagonally to like upper left. It's kind of switch in this direction. I think that's all for this PSA. So I will like show you a little demo. After you have done things like in your code, you should have the board.java, and you should modify the board.java and the game manager, these 2 files, and you can compile them all. You can use javac start.java, which will compile all the .java files in your folder. There's no compile error, and then you can see we have all these classes files. And then we can run the PSA tester. It will have some test cases to check your code, to check your board.java. Okay, you can see like we have this kind of test cases. If you see this kind of the passed, which means that you pass all the test cases for our file. But for the grading, we might have some other test cases. So be careful with your code. Think of some edge cases, but not too much edge cases. Normally we will like not thinking like very tricky edge cases. And also, as I mentioned, you can play with your game manager. So we can like game manager. Let me see. So I should not run the game manager. It is not correct. I should run the game 2048. So the game 2048, it will call the game manager, and the game manager, it will call the board.java. If you want to see the result on the command line, you should run game 2048, not the game manager. So after I run the game 2048, it will have some these kind of things, and these things are already written by us. Therefore, you can see the result here. It is like almost the same here. When you try to type something, it won't move because for this PSA we haven't implemented the move method of the board as well as the is game over. So if you type anything, it won't work. It won't move the board. We just like if you just can check your PSA by running this tester. If you passed all the test cases, I think it should be fine. Okay, I think that's pretty much what I want to talk about. And start your PSA early. It can help you a lot. And thank you.